Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we're getting prepared for Game 4 of the series between Team Liquid Academy and 100 Thieves Academy. Team Liquid strike back in this Game 3 and give us a series. We were worried it might be a 3-0 sweep with how 100 Thieves Academy were looking, but Team Liquid tripled down on the game plan and actually clutched this one out. So, Cubby, at the top of the show, we asked the question, what are Team Liquid Academy going to look like with these substitutes coming in of Dokla and Inori? I think we have our answer now.
The game plan is based around mid, right? This is the third game in a row where they're really trying to set up Harry for success with counter pick, trying to attack his lane. And this time around, it pays off, but it's honestly off the play of Team Liquid dodging out on the three-wave plan from 100 Thieves Academy. They absorb the gank mid, they force Gamsu off a wave top, and then Dokla gets the party started again, taking down the bot lane 100 Thieves Academy with a great TP that really gets the ball rolling for Team Liquid, and importantly, stacking up the Dragon, because they ended up needing that badly because of how 100 Thieves Academy were able to fight back in this one.
And 100 Thieves Academy, you think that they have the good game plan here. They've been doing these dives, they've been making them work. Even here, they do make good plays. They do get kills that they need. But unfortunately, it is those dragons stacking up like Cubby mentioned. It's the fact that there's a macro plan for Team Liquid Academy that we've seen weaknesses of in the first two games from 100 Thieves. They weren't able to close out games as quickly as they could have when they had leads. And honestly, this is the first time that we've seen Team Liquid Academy able to push forward onto these advantages that they've been able to pick up in the early game.
There's a lot that 100 Thieves were doing in the early game. A lot of these plays we see during the replay package are actually going in their favor, which is kind of leading into that surprise factor that Team Liquid Academy closed it out because of that dragon stacking, because of the focus on objectives. This play, really cool. Pillar with the Cosmic Binding coming through from the Bard right there. But at the end of the day, I mean, the team fight from Team Liquid worked at the key fights. That fourth dragon in particular, we'll break that down a little bit more later. But overall, I think this is a really good win for Team Liquid Academy. They can walk out of this one feeling confident because 3 games in a row with this Cassiopeia, they're really trying to hammer down this pick, or rather not 3 in a row, but 2 in a row. But still to focus on that mid lane carry there. But again, just like we've done the past couple of times, Cubby, we want to break down a couple of specific moments that happened in the game that were extra impactful. First one, again, the same script for 100 Thieves. They're consistently going for these 3-wave dives.
And this is the way that I like League to be played. I feel like if you're able to stack up waves and dive on the third wave, this is the way to do it. You even see Ryoma, you can't see it right now, but on the minimap, he's basing the TP to this cannon creep. And it's just Team Liquid getting the best of it with the help of TP coming in from mid, that heal from Yon, a great sidestep on the stun from Poom. Chad, he takes the aggro with the ground with the slows, is not able to get out in time, and meanwhile on the flip side, because 4 members of 100 Thieves show bot, this means that Team Liquid can do something similar top, and Dokla was prepping the wave to be played like this since double one. As Joshi pointed out in the cast, he skipped out on the first 3 melee creeps to step up into Ornn, harass him out, get his health bar low. They managed forcing him off that wave. He misses a triple wave that they end up slow stacking, then he has to burn flash and TP for. And that transitions us into another fight where this is the 4th dragon occasion. You want to walk us through this one?
I mean, really, it just comes down to how Team Liquid Academy was able to just kind of wrestle away dragons, but 100 Thieves Academy were making amazing plays, and right here, this is where it becomes a problem to go for pure kills, because you have this objective that now you have to fight over. This is 4 Dragon Soul as the 4th dragon for Team Liquid Academy. And because 100 Thieves Academy were forced into this, Team Liquid could just take it. They could get the kill that looks like Chad almost donated to them at that point. And from there, they go for the Baron. It's simple objective play. It's effective objective play, and Team Liquid Academy just played it very well. 100 Thieves Academy, no real answers.
Yeah, and I do want to credit specifically Ayla. I know that Chad, it looked like a tough death from him, but he is forced in that position due to the fact that the Baron, the Dragon Pit, it was empty. There was no vision for 100 Thieves, and Chad, that ultimate that came out from Bard, he was forced to go unstoppable there as he didn't have flash, had to dodge out on that, and they didn't know where the health bar of the Dragon was at. So Team Liquid, their control around that objective, forced that bad decision, gifted them that Ocean Soul for free, and that's really what broke the back of 100 Thieves Academy in that game 3.
And it's crazy to think about the fact that that was the pivotal moment. Everything that happened for the last 5 minutes felt like things were leaning 100 Thieves' way. They were actually getting back into this game. The gold was even. Luger was solo killing Jan in the mid lane. And then, because of all these factors, the 3 dragons that had stacked earlier, and the fact that they didn't have the right approach to this dragon, in that big pressure moment, the dominoes start to fall. Chad dies, Baron goes down, mid inhibitor falls, Team Liquid Academy closed the game out from there in very nice fashion. If that 4th dragon hadn't gone that way, it could have been a very different game, obviously. But as we're getting prepared for this final game, I want to give us a chance to get final thoughts here, because this is now Team Liquid Academy getting their first win. So, Cage, I'm going to send this one to you. Briefly give me your thoughts. 100 Thieves Academy, what do they need to clean up here if they're hoping for the 4-1 or the 3-1, which you had predicted at the top of the show?
So in order to close the series out, I think 100 Thieves Academy just need to look at what's made Team Liquid Academy so strong in this game, and I feel like it was the strong disengage that they were allowed to have. And in draft, I want to see some avoidances of things like Trundle, as well as the Ezreal, Rom, even Bard. Like, those are such powerful weapons for Team Liquid Academy, and if they can either take them away via bans or by picks, then 100 Thieves Academy can still take the series in a 3-1 fashion.
Okay, so get Team Liquid off of those safer space-making picks, as Cubby had called them. Cubby, real quick, your thoughts. How did Team Liquid Academy double down, make sure they bring us to a Game 5?
I think that if the game plan is to Kingdom mid, I would think about trying to pair up Cassiopeia and Jarvan. I think that could be a really nice pairing. 100 Thieves did choose blue side. They do end up going for that Rise. I mean, you can blind Jarvan if they 2-3 the Rise like they have been doing. You can respond with Cassio. Really difficult for them to deal with, and I think it gives Inori a couple more options moving forward as well with his jungle pool.
All right, let's see what the plans are from these teams as we're going to send it to another short break before getting into pick and ban for game number 4, where Latyrus and Joshi will take it away. See you there.
Welcome back to LCS Proving Grounds. Ain't no sweeping territory today as Team Liquid Academy keep themselves within this best of 5 against 100 Thieves Academy, who I am sure are determined to close it out here in the winners finals. And Joshi, definitely a different look from TLA during the last game in the series, not necessarily overall as a team.
Yeah, and I promise Team Liquid fans, like, I do like your team, but I actually just have like an eyelash in my eye. I'm not crying for the fact of like a comeback just coming yet.
No, that's not
man.
the case. You were crying during the break, and you're just trying to cover it up now. That's all.
Boy.
That's all, Joshi. Yeah.
Just tears of happiness, right, for Team Liquid able to come back in that. But I also said, Gabby, that I don't feel like 100 Thieves are likely to go with that kind of strategy once again. We saw that Callista coming in as the first pick. We've seen them have some success with it in the past, but we've also seen that Team Liquid have a lot of answers to it. I don't feel like 100 Thieves are likely to go right on back to that, instead going to something that we know is very tried and true for them. And honestly, I was going to say the Aphelios, but now it's banned away. It makes me curious because Aphelios and Virus were the number 1 and number 2 I always think of for Luger.
Yeah, they're very effective picks for him. When the Varus is brought away, then maybe the Aphelios out. But in this case, they know that Jan has went to that pick for a couple games now. They're sticking with the Callista. So that should be interesting look for 100 Thieves Academy. I wonder how much they're going to change the draft around it, right? Because that also makes a difference in the way that you can use her and her ultimate effectively. Nocturne too.
Okay, I already like this a lot better coming in for 100 Thieves Academy. The Callista was instantly matched by the Ezreal and the Trundle, and as the Nocturne comes through, it gives them ways to actually start fights, something that they were really missing. They were looking for ways to get underneath the range of Team Liquid Academy, and they didn't have it. Now they have one champion that can actually do it, and if Team Liquid want to look at the Rise for themselves, it becomes very dangerous, and now that they're going for this, they have to ban the Rise if they actually want to try and play this style.
LeBlanc. Harry on the LeBlanc. There's a lot of good LeBlanc players within Proving Grounds, but TL, whenever they've locked it in, the analyst desk was talking about how a lot of this series has been around mid and TL trying to make plays around it. But if you're talking about that style to its fullest, LeBlanc is somebody that they want to be able to snowball and just get to an absolutely monstrous state later on in the game. So something that 100 Thieves are going to have to be wary of. There's that Rise ban that you were talking about. They don't want to have to deal with that. Braum being taken away as an option for Ayla here. Still never going to see the Thresh. That's in so many of the series, actually. It's not just an Ayla thing. That's just a overall hard engage. Yeah, like Thresh is always going to be one of those support sets in that way, but especially within this meta in particular. But 100 Thieves Academy, despite keeping their bot lane the same, just that single change in Nocturne, you were talking about it, already giving them so much more tools at their disposal.
And the LeBlanc doesn't have the same kind of brutal range and the brutal ability to deal with Callista. Yes, LeBlanc has more just straight killing power than Cassiopeia. You can just kill Callista sometimes. But if you don't have enough burst immediately, if you don't have ways to stay away from the Callista, if the burst doesn't kill her, it's definitely an opportunity for Luger to play a little bit more proactively than it would be up against the Miasma. And now with the Rise and Twisted Fate already banned out, it looks like Team Liquid are trying to get 100 Thieves to actually play the Syndra, which has been kind of one of the other go-to picks in mid lane up against LeBlanc.
And they really want to bait it out here. If the Rel gets locked in, and that's one of those picks we actually haven't seen from TL, I believe, during Proving Grounds, but we saw from Ayla during the regular season. I was kind of hoping they would bust it out because he had some great plays on that pick in particular, but instead it is the Alistar, which works well here in being able to isolate a target, knock them up, and on the opposite side, it ain't going to be a Syndra. It's going to be a different look with the Sylas.
Okay, yeah, look at this. 100 Thieves are looking at ways to get in this time around. They have the Sylas coming through, which is not necessarily the greatest counter pick to LeBlanc. It can kind of suffer in lane pretty heavily due to the fact that it's melee into range, but it has a couple of great ultimates on the other side that it can pick up. The Alistar ultimate, the pretty much best in class. So like, if you can just have a single ultimate for yourself that's not going to be doing any damage, Alistar makes you so incredibly tanky, getting off multiple Kingslayers. The set ult, very valuable. The True Shot Barrage, super useful. And the Trundle ultimate, you know, Trundle takes away Ornn stats, and then you take them right back, except it's on your Silence now. Again, very, very tanky. So a lot of cool things coming in from 100 Thieves Academy. I like this draft a lot more from them. And, you know, while I'm always a big Team Liquid fan, I have to say I really like the way the 100 Thieves have pivoted.
If you're worried about the burst that Harry can achieve on the LeBlanc, then why not bring out a Taric, an Ornn, a Sylas in the mid lane? Just a lot of picks that are going to be so difficult for 100 Thieves Academy to burn through here. But you're saying how you like what you're seeing from 100 Thieves. Thoughts on TL? How much do you believe in their strength?
I feel like they have kind of a similar style, right? But the big difference is where Harry's going to be playing. Harry on this LeBlanc is not going to be a very good front-to-back team fighter like we just saw Team Liquid get their wins from. Instead, he's going to be more active on the splits. He's going to be looking for a lot of flanks. And if he can find Luger, he can really turn this game around.
And we will find out between 100 Thieves and TL who is the better to execute on their comp right after this. Welcome back to LCS Proving Grounds. If you are wondering who has the momentum behind them in this best of 5, it is Team Liquid Academy coming off of their first win of the series in game number 3. But 100 Thieves still hoping to close it out here. Some slight variations in the draft that they've brought through. And we'll see who can bring out the true victory in this game.
Going to be a fairly slow early start as we see the Ornn kind of chilling up in the Uwu alcove, as a lot of people have taken to calling it, and it's trying to be a little cute over there, but it also gives Dokla some time to come in and get these wards down. Now I'm curious what Gamsu is actually going to be trying to do. This kind of reminds me of like the really old lane swaps where I'm trying to remember who it was who just hid in the bush for like a full minute and a half, soaking up experience, and nobody actually checked it. And Dokla, he's probably not gonna. Oh, he's actually gonna check it. What? What?
Oh, he walks around. Then, is somebody out in this cove? There's a possibility. I'm a little lonely out here, so he ends up finding Gamsu. But yeah, at this stage, there's not much you can do besides say, "Ha! I got you. You better get out of here." And I am here to answer you here in this top side. Minions officially crashed down in the middle. So no crazy plays this time around. Everyone just set in their normal territory. Bot lane helping out the jungler here, Nori, starting on the bot side on blue.
Yeah, Yon and Ayla also pinging out where they think Luger and Poom are. They didn't see him hitting the wave quite yet, and they spot him. They are going to be giving the ward away, but hey, at least they know where the enemy bottom lane is. And hey, again, very similar thing. Dokla just bullying Gamsu away from the wave, knowing he's got the sustained advantage.
Yep, not a single CS fallen in that top. An early flash taken from Luger there after the advancement of Ayla, which is something that you're definitely going to put a smile on your face for to get that sum out early.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for Team Liquid that Ayla was able to get the flash there, right? He's only level 1, didn't actually have the Q coming up in time, so Luger potentially, you know, a little bit on edge after losing that one. Probably didn't need the flash, and instead, it's going to be an opportunity, less aggression coming through from the Taric in the next couple of minutes, because they don't have the same kind of double flash trick that they used last time.
And that is something that you have to think about, doubling down on just the mental here, right? Luger a bit shaken maybe by Team Liquid, preventing them from getting the sweep. The continued aggression that has happened across the bot lane in the 2v2, when you know that you've been facing off against Ayla, who has had no problem trying to go for plays, even in the first game where the Leona didn't really work out in the end, but still tried to make sure he was going for it. And over in the jungle, though, an early invade, Nori over here on the bot side. Dokla is here for some support as well, and Shad, knowing this, just gonna go ahead and back.
You don't need to see exactly where Dokla is to know that you can't really contest this. Dokla does come down and create some space, but he could have been anywhere in that fog of war. Gamsu and Chad had not seen him after he rotated out, and this will get them this top lane Scuttle Crab for free, and Poom and Luger trying to make sure that it's not completely for free, and they're going to be committing quite a bit, actually, from 100 Thieves in order to try and make sure that Team Liquid do not give Nori both of the Scuttle Crabs.
Meanwhile, down bot, and Poom and Luke are moving up effectively into that river side, knowing that there's probably some attention paid over towards top to get that scuttle. They can get some of these more advanced wards in, and even Chad is walking alongside Poom down here towards that bot side for a potential play, the furthest ward from Team Liquid over into their own jungle.
Okay, Gabby, I'm going to be, straight up, I'm a top laner, and this position for Gamsu is absolutely miserable. Right, the fact that this wave is as large as it is means that it will push up against Dokla. Dokla has a sustained advantage because he's set into Ornn and his health regen is absolutely crazy, and he probably wins most of the all-ins as long as he's not doing it in the entire wave. So Gamsu has to try and play really risky in order to get anything done, and look at this, and Nori's here to punish.
Oh, and Gamsu, you may not know this, Dokla bringing him in,
Nice.
And Nori is here for the answer, the pillar for the cut-off. It's first blood for Dokla on the set.
Oh my god, that pillar was supreme! He was able to put it down
Real
into
pretty.
Gamsu's E before the actual property of it destroying terrain comes through, so there was no way for Gamsu to do anything. He would have had to flash instantly, and then it just would have been followed by the pillar. So, Inori and Dokla putting Gamsu in a terrible position and executing on it. This is what we like to see when they've been so relentless trying to make sure he wins.
100 Thieves are seeing if they can make something happen mid in return, but Ayla has already roamed towards this side, so Chad cannot continue to pursue Harry and instead has to back off. Both of the supports making sure to match each other over on the bot, here on top. Continuation of aggro from Dokla to Gamsu. Dokla having that CS advantage, having that kill under his belt, a little more spending power after going to the base means that now he can get that flash from Gamsu, who had to use his teleport to get back to lane as well.
Oh god, Gamsu is just buried right now. He is so far down. He's going to get even further down, and without flash, without teleport, it's going to take a Herculean effort for 100 Thieves to bring him back into the game. Luckily for them, it is still an Ornn. When he hits level 6, he does still have access to Ornn's ultimate, which is always very cool. At the same time, though, he's not going to be doing a lot of damage. He's not going to be a particularly effective tank, and Dokla is going to be so far ahead of the opposing top laner, and this is what we've kind of been looking for. We were looking for opportunities for Team Liquid to build advantages topside for themselves, as well as getting Harry ahead so that they can carry through these solo lanes. And Team Liquid, so far, executing on it greatly.
Yeah, and if they're going to continue seeing their focus there, then you have to wonder from 100 Thieves, how are we going to try and offset this a bit? Because over in the mid lane, Harry up 20 CS opposed to Ryoma. Expected here. We have the showstopper, though, targeting onto Gamsu. The haymaker, strong enough. Flash forward from Dokla. He's got the pops popping right here, so he can even have some additional heal. But Gamsu knows there's no escape for him. He had already used those sums prior, so that's 2 kills now for Dokla.
Yeah, I mean, the flash might not have been the cleanest thing in the world, but hey, you don't need to execute on it perfectly when you're this far ahead. You just catch out Gamsu, interrupt his E. There's not a lot that he can really do, so another kill, this time a solo kill, going over to Dokla. He's up 20 CS at this point. He's already crashing a wave. He's going to be getting at least 1 or 2 plates, and the rest of the map, it doesn't look like they're necessarily going to be trying to bail out this Ornn, so this situation will get worse, and 100 Thieves need to find something else on the map to do something. They're only up 10 CS in the bottom lane. That is not enough in order to be strong enough to deal with this set.
And the solo laners in general from Team Liquid, while Harry hasn't really gotten into the kills just yet. Yeah, oh my gosh, and the plates up top too. So Dokla has really been getting himself into a very comfortable position with those kills. Harry farming away, really taking advantage of the matchup, has the Oblivion Orb so that he can also get those Grievous Runes applied so you can offset some of that sustainability on the side of 100 Thieves. And Team Liquid having a lot of the control for themselves with a 2k gold lead.
Man, I'm trying to figure out where exactly 100 Thieves are going to be looking to make a play, right? The typical answer is going to be bottom lane, because you do have this Kalista who's now dinged level 6. Poom is almost level 6 as well, so they have the experience necessary to try and go for dives here relatively quickly. But it's also hard to go for it against an Alistar and against an Ezreal. They have a lot of innate tankiness, and the Aftershock makes them even tankier as well. Chad trying to do this. I'm pretty sure he's on vision here as he tries to pull the dragon even further out, but they should know that this is happening. Luckily for 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, they have the jungle on the far side of the map.
100 Thieves now recognizing that vision. They brought Poom and Luger up. Ayla is nearby, but Team Liquid, in a very typical Team Liquid way, are okay with giving over that first Drake. That was one of the interesting things about last game compared to some of the previous ones, was TL getting those early dragon advantages so that the soul became so inevitable, and 100 Thieves were brought into a lot of those fights, whereas 100, on the other hand, have been stacking some of the earlier Drakes, but then it's been delayed souls if they ever even get to that point, because Team Liquid being okay with intervening later on. But if we're going towards the neutral objective on the top side, it's Shelly, Ryoma, and Chad directly onto the Rift Herald, but Dokla and Inori on the opposite side, throwing down the icy floor. There's the Ornn, gets the knock up onto 2, the Paranoia to follow, but the Showstopper has already been used on one portion of this. Exhaust thrown down, both junglers taken out, double kill for Luger right now. Can he follow up on this? There was a return, as now it is 3 that have fallen for Team Liquid, 2 sacrificed on the line for 100 Thieves.
And 100 Thieves are also going to be the ones that pick up the Rift Herald. You see that is in Poom's inventory. He's going to try and use this almost immediately, right? You do not want to hang on to this as a support because you need the vision that you can otherwise provide. But the way that 100 Thieves were able to play this was really, really strong. The one thing that they wish they had was access to Boom Ultimate, but Gamsu over the wall can't get interrupted by anybody. They bring lots of people in, and Ryoma with the Alistair Ultimate, basically impossible to kill throughout this entire fight. And the only thing that I think really took 100 Thieves off guard was just how much damage Dokla actually does here, right? Luger walks up and he's like, oh, that guy is, I knew he was strong, I didn't realize he was that strong. Okay, end up going down, but he will still be very happy with the results.
Easy to forget about Dokla's lead when that second kill was a solo kill against Gamsu too. And you see him in the fight for the first time and you think, oh, all right, that's a strong set right there. So, and he gets just a little bit stronger off of that, but it is 100 Thieves making sure that they stay in this, getting that Rift Herald still held in the pocket of Poom, but yes, he will probably be dropping that at some point. We're still in plated territory at the 10-minute and 40 mark. And then Dokla continuing with that same strategy as he has before, now shoving this wave in. And then TP also almost available for both of these top laners too, should a skirmish break out elsewhere on the map.
And Ryoma with double buffs, also looking to tussle with Harry. Both mid laners came up big in that last fight. 1-0-2 now for Ryoma and 1-0-1 on Harry. So the big thing that we were looking at with this is how does Ryoma come back after the early laning deficit? And oh, he goes for a fight.
Yeah, can he come back if there's a 2v1 here in mid? Pillar to knock him up, and Nori and Harry on his tail. Ryoma taken out.
I gotta see a replay of that because I actually need to know which one of them pressed the Trundle ultimate first because it matters a lot in these kind of fights. It ultimately does result in Ryoma going down, but it was kind of difficult. He goes in at exactly the wrong time. The bottom lane is already roaming up by the time the fight actually happens, and while they don't lose a whole lot for it, it is just a kill going over. It is still a kill going over to the other side of the map, and Harry is already showing that he's able to play this LeBlanc. We haven't necessarily seen him explode anybody just quite yet. That's the closest we got, but it is still something weird happening.
Ooh, Chad sets in with the ultimate, and Luger and Poom known to be rotating over from that mid position, so they can't actually follow up on anything there. Meanwhile, over on the top side, Gamsu forced to use the ultimate here. It's 3v1, Dokla flashing out, but still ends up getting the last hit from the turret. Activating the passive on air here, but it's Gamsu that manages to survive and kill the opponent top laner.
Wow, I was so excited for Team Liquid when they stopped the second part of the ultimate, Yan going into the mid lane, but Gamsu still living and getting a kill off of that. We're kind of seeing a little bit of the difference coming through between 100 Thieves' ability to dive bot lanes and Team Liquid's ability to dive the top lane, right? 100 Thieves have gone for a number of full-man dives with Poom and Luger, but this time we try and see something happen top lane, and it just does not go in favor of Team Liquid. Gold, less than 500 between the two.
And while that first turret fell in favor of Team Liquid on that top side, once Gamsu was pushed out of the fight, that Rift Herald that was held by Poom earlier finally dropped down on that bot once they're able to usher that wave up and make sure that they can complete the turret, which means all of those plates also going over to 100 Thieves when Luger, about a 20 CS, 18 at the time right now, lead compared to Yan. Got those plates for him, a nice little bounty, a couple kills in his pocket too. So 100 Thieves and TL both have members that are starting to get stronger into the later portions of the game.
As this game does get later and later, right, I feel like I've touched on this a number of times before, but Resolve was really strong at getting these late game team fights, and part of why they were so good at these late game team fights was because they had an Ornn on their team, and 100 Thieves is the team that has an Ornn on it this time. So as the team fights get later and later, he gets to give his team a ton of artificial gold, and right now, it looks like they're going to be creating pressure. They want to be the ones setting these guys. Nice stun!
Yeah, Harry over the wall immediately gets stunned as a result, and luckily has the protection to get back to the turret so he can back completely with the guise of his passive. But meanwhile, because of that distance created, Chad could focus onto that dragon and get the second one. It'll be a mountain soul on the horizon.
Alright, I don't normally talk about the rifts all that much, but this is a spot where it's actually really, really helpful for 100 Thieves to have the Ornn who, as you know, I've touched on before, is just 21% tankier than every other character on equivalent item. He gets 10% bonus armor, and 10% bonus magic resist, and 10% bonus HP. When you stack those all together, you just are so much tankier than anybody with the same amount of items. And Mountain Dragon stacks multiplicatively with that, which makes it super, super effective on this one. Additionally, with all the extra terrain that 100 Thieves can be playing with, it gives them a little bit more tools for Ornn to actually headbutt himself, get knockouts around, and suddenly have kind of a bit of an L-start on their own on top of everything else that Gamsu already does.
And now that Ornn in particular already hovering around this mid side. So kind of preparing for the potential of these team fights to break out. 100 Thieves, they know that this is a tight one, right? I mean, if we're looking at the gold lead right now, it's fairly even, just a little bit of an inch for Team Liquid here off of some of those early turret gold, but here we go. There's what we're talking about. Gamsu comes in with the ultimate, knocks up a few, and the pursuit and the follow-up from Chad, getting them under the guise of paranoia. Ultimate also activated by Perm, so they can continue to pursue this. Ayla finding the end of his faith there, and now the remaining members of TL have to back out of this. Dokla still pushing over towards that top side, but there's not much he can do in the response here.
Gorgeous, gorgeous chef's kiss to that one. That was immaculate team fighting coming in from 100 Thieves. They timed the ultimate for Gamsu. He's got a flank, and he's from Fog of War, so nobody can stop him. They timed the ultimate from Herrick at the same time that Chad is going in, so when he actually arrives, he's basically invincible as soon as they actually get there. They're able to get the mid lane turret. They're able to start pressuring for this, and now as they bring more members to the actual fight, they should be able to win this one.
Yeah, TP coming in from Ryoma on the back of the pit. The Herald is marked down fairly low. Nori and Dokla are the ones that are closest to it. Ryoma now has joined Gamsu. There's a teleport coming from the pit here, so Team Liquid will be able to secure the second Rift Herald here. Still in pursuit, though. They're cutting off Ryoma. They're cutting off Gamsu. Prum coming over for the potential flank, though. What a markdown. That's a great stun here in response. Ayla ended up getting a kill here. But 100 Thieves are still in pursuit. Dokla should be able to get burned down in just a moment's time. Prum sees that Anori is on the retreat. He's even sweeping his way out of this one. And Jan and Ayla now in the enemy territory just want to find a successful escape here.
Don't know if oh, he's got this Rift Herald, so he's got a fast recall. That's crazy. Okay.
All the weird Rift Herald grabs because Pim had to grab it last time after that fight, and then now Jan has it too, but it actually worked out really well for him. All right.
Super, super funny stuff. Okay, but we saw similar mistakes being made by both teams back to back, but 100 Thieves are a bit of a large mistake. I said that they should be good for this fight, but they end up going for this before they have everybody in position. Ryoma goes the long way around, and as the fight moves down the river, it becomes very difficult for Ryoma to participate just based on the geography. And once they become outnumbered, once they're even taking an even fight with weaker champions, it's going to be very difficult for them to win that fight. But then watch how this fight plays out. It's actually a 3v3 for the longest part before Jan actually comes in. Harry gets super low, and while this is all happening, Ayla is looking for a flank. He's behind. He just comes up on the bottom side. He's just too late to this fight, and now without their ultimates, it's going to be Team Liquid that are weak here. But it was such a narrow margin. If Ayla was just a little bit faster, if Team Liquid had waited just, a second or two, it could have very easily gone the other way. So it's unfortunately a big disaster, but it's still an understandable mistake.
You really see the impact of some of these champions, what they're going to be able to do later on, because on top of how that started, seeing Luger be able to rotate later and just the effective damage that he can have, that is going to be so much more of a threat when he can just freely poke with some of the protection of Gamsu, of Perm, whenever they get into these team fights. Because it's 30 seconds to go before this mountain rank ends up spawning over on the bot side too, so that's something that they have to look out for.
We're also still seeing that Gamsu versus Dokla is still at a pretty severe disadvantage, right? Dokla is going to be winning these. He just got, again, a lot of gold influx on the second lane turret that they, the second turret that they just got top lane. The big thing here is because Inori went for an interesting invade. We saw him backing next to the opposing red buff. He might be a little bit late, and if 100 Thieves are able to pick up on that, they could try and burn this, but instead, taking control, making sure that they don't give over any mid lane priority. And Luger, gotta be careful. Wow!
Ooh, teleports coming in from Dokla too. So now the full force of Team Liquid, a true shot barrage to slice through some. Luger is marked down low, but he does have his mythic available, so he should be able to heal this up pretty effectively. Gamsu, the last time we saw him flank, he had a really good ultimate. We'll see if he can pull this off once again. There's the call of the Forge God. Gets a knock up onto one. Forces the flash from Harry on the opposite side so that he doesn't get knocked up there. Ayla headbutts one away, but Inori finding Chad and Gamsu on the back line. Chad has been taken out, and Team Liquid continue on through. Dokla using his ultimate to isolate a single target. but Poom activating his own in response. Now it is 3 members of 100 Thieves getting burned down. Ryoma, one last hit should do it. Flash from Poom out of this fight. Now a separation between him and Gamsu. Team Liquid should not have to take any more steps forward if they don't want to, because they effectively win the fight regardless of these kills right here. Poom does find safety eventually.
Dokla trying to run him down, but hey, we saw a great fight from coming in from 100 Thieves earlier. This time it's Team Liquid to take the fight the way they want to, and they're also going to be putting a stop to the actual Dragon stacking. So the big thing here, Luger took a lot of damage at the beginning, so that makes it very difficult. And this flanking ultimate, props to Gamsu for actually waiting to make sure that he doesn't get his ultimate stopped. But then the fight splits. Suddenly, the backline can't get in. Luger, Ryoma cannot walk forward because Gamsu and Chad are not in between them and everybody else. Even at this spot, you know, it's a situation where 100 Thieves are just outnumbered by the members of Team Liquid. Yes, they're going to get a couple of kills because they have a ton of artificial tankiness on Ryoma between the Alistar ultimate and the invincibility coming in from Poom. But because they split so hard, it allows Team Liquid to more easily focus down individual members. That gives them a win in that deal.
Positioning so imperative. And I mean, when you have someone like Dokla too with a showstopper that can bring somebody to the opposite side of the fight and try and emphasize that mispositioning, but here in the mid lane, 3 members of Team Liquid have funneled around, and Nori circling over through the jungle territory. He did run into a ward, so 100 Thieves are aware of this. Nonetheless, the wave pushing for Team Liquid so they can take down this turret, and 100 Thieves forced to clear.
Gamsu's already grouping again, right? He is definitely a strong team fighter as a champion, but he's missing out on a lot of experience right now. They're trying to just find a fight, and I'm not sure what this is over.
Oh, Chad, on the opposite side of this pillar now. It was thrown up by a Nori. Flash ushered out. There's Chad putting it down into the Paranoia. Even have the Ornhorn drop down. The Showstopper brings Dokla way into the backline. Gets a heavy hit onto Luger. A sidestep onto the True Shot Barrage. But in the end, Luger does fall. He's the main source of damage here, and Team Liquid are making sure to punish that as they take down Gamsu. And now Poom, very vulnerable despite his tanky state. Ryoma is taking on Harry over on the opposite side. And despite Harry being low, it is Team Liquid here that are continuing to push down in the mid lane. Harry still managing an escape though. Even the turret shot doesn't finish him off. TL rotate over towards the Baron side now.
And I gotta say, the difference in Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves' ability to take these fights is pretty stark at this point. 100 Thieves, their composition is just a little bit harder to play, but watch a couple crucial things here. One, Poom doesn't actually get invincibility onto just about anybody. And two, Chad, again, not necessarily going to be able to be super effective. He waits a long time, and his ultimate isn't actually used. He never dives in on anybody and loses out on quite a bit of damage. And Gamsu splitting off because he's not an effective tank just means that Team Liquid are able to run over 100 Thieves whenever Poom's ultimate isn't effectively used.
Team Liquid just looking so much better when they know when those ultimates are coming. And yeah, it's just as you're saying, Joshi, just their opportunity here, the way that they're able to break it up using things like the pillar, and Harry just right there narrowly surviving. But even if he didn't survive in that moment, it's still just a time where Team Liquid really blazing through this. They've got the Baron buff now for themselves. The gold lead is in their favor. They have more turrets down than 100 Thieves as well. And 100 now are forced to just kind of cluster together and don't want to be caught out in any situation, especially when you have picks like Poom on the turret that are very much poised to make an effective team fight. But Gamsu going to get a little bit of a trade of pressure here on the top side, finally taking down that turret.
Also going to be getting a decent amount of experience, right? Remember, his items start coming through at level 13. Ryoma picks up the Alistar ultimate, but they also have to be very wary of a flank coming in from Dokla. He's looking around the side, and while multiple turrets are going to be going down across the board, it is still going to be a small win coming in for Team Liquid. Dokla needs to look for a back here very soon. He wants to rejoin his team before they get engaged on.
Standing on top of a ward that will now be cleared with the help of Nori sweeping that out. All the while, Harry has been pushing over in that bot side, bringing a Baron empowered wave towards this tier 2 turret that will easily fall, even if some of the eyes are drawn from 100 Thieves here. So this is exactly what we have seen on a lot of these Baron pushes, just making sure that you're distributing that power through the mid lane as well as one of the side lanes. They knew that Gamsu had pushed up that wave so much in top, so bottom is going to be their full focus. There's a Paranoia sets in once more. The Ornhorn here to try and get it knocked up as well. An activated ultimate on Ayla makes him nice and tanky, and Chad was the one to fall in that. So Team Liquid trying to turn this around, but Boom getting his ultimate off here too. A nice knock up onto 3 members of Team Liquid, but it is still 100 Thieves on the back foot. Way too weak, way too low in HP, way too little power available to them to offset the pressure that Team Liquid are issuing out. Now focusing their eyes onto this inhibitor. Ryoma going into stasis as soon as that pillar was brought through. And 100, it's a very difficult time for them to be here. A nice slap onto 1, so Honori is no longer here, and Team Liquid are going to have a difficult time being able to follow through here with full force without that tanky boy.
Okay, Gamsu's finally tanking enough. They're looking for a potential re-engage, but they're kind of low.
Ryoma TPing to get over onto the side of Team Liquid, but doesn't manage to connect with the chains. And Team Liquid are just on the retreat right now. There's a pretty hefty wave for them down here. The 100 Thieves are having to clear on the way, and it's just going to be very difficult for them to catch up at this point. But if they try to make a return, there it goes. Alistar was the first one to go for it, and Chad falls at the hands of Jan right into the center of them all. A haymaker is thrown down. Dokla, he's only got a little bit left on him, but Boom falls as well. Luger only going to survive for another moment's time as Team Liquid shred through them for the ace right here. Punish the lack of ultimate, punish 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves wanted to fight for that in order to pick up the next Mountain Dragon, but they aren't given enough time to set up. They're trying to get into an Ezreal, and Ezreal's going to be able to kite this the entire time. Team Liquid are poised to pick up another game and take us to a Game 5. Another Game 5, Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves right now. Couple seconds, Chad is going to be up, so I don't think the game ends just quite yet, but man, is it close.
Is Chad going to be able to make a last stand here, though? 4 members of Team Liquid directly fighting on to this turret. The headbutt away from Ayla. Everyone else has spawned. They go for it. They take down Dokla. He takes down Ayla originally before, but there's the Ornhorn. Everyone is still focusing onto the Nexus, though. They clear them out. The TP coming in from Dokla. He wants to try to hit that Nexus as much as possible, but look at the knockup. Look at the lockdown. Look at everything that 100 Thieves have. It does not matter. Too strong. CL bring this to a Game 5, everybody. We'll have it for you on the other side of this break.